if you're in a program, you're months in, 2, 3 months in, however long, and your legal stuff does pop up, and you're stuck with trying to abide by the program, but also tiptoeing on the line of the legal part of it. And it's here. My personal story on that is when I went to this program, they got me immediately, and that's what got me. Um, when I called them, the first 10 minutes talking to them, there wasn't no questions, there wasn't no money up front, there wasn't no wait period, no application. It was just a simple, "Are you ready to get on the bus and come on?" And that's what I did. It was a life or death situation for me.
Yeah.
And they told me don't worry about probation, don't worry about my legal stuff, that we'll take care of that when you get here. But the good side of it is, it was instant. It was instant. They really saved my life. That one program did. I don't want to say names,
I got you.
but if somebody in recovery and active addiction that are on the verge of a relapse or a overdose, in my situation, I overdosed and I died. And I tried in Georgia. I'm on probation in Georgia. I tried a dozen places in Georgia, making phone calls, sending emails, and 15 of the 20 places, they wouldn't accept me or, you know, do anything unless I had $300 to $500 up front to even fill out an application to come. So that's why I chose Alabama, and that's why I violated. This place in Alabama, I called them up. I was in a dire situation where it was life or death for me. Either I was going to die and overdose on the street because of my drug addiction and my relapse, or it was immediately get help, which they did. I will give them props on that. They didn't turn me down. They didn't ask no questions. It was, do you need help? Yes. Come on.
Yeah.
We'll worry about the legal stuff later.
Yeah.
But months going into it, 5, 6, 7 months later on down the line, where you're comfortable in with your life in recovery and your job and your stability, but now you're crossing over to that legal side where if I'm
hang with us. I'll be back in a second. There we
you
go.
there,
Yeah. I let everybody know that might happen now and then. We'll be okay.
if we got a routine going on, I'm going to work every day, I'm going to classes every day. Hopping in a vehicle going to work every day is, it puts that stress and that worry on you. If we get pulled over, if we get pulled over by, the local police, and I got a warrant for me in Georgia, and just instantly my life ends right there.
Yeah. I mean, I remember talk. It's been a while since we talked, but I mean, obviously, at least a few months. But I remember, I know the place you're talking about. We were talking pretty regularly when you were there, and your choice to go in there, you made the right one. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not going to put in here what our conversations were, but you weren't in a good place. You really
No.
didn't know exactly where to go. I think you were kind of like, I wouldn't say a breaking point, but you were just like, man, whatever choice I make, I don't even know if I'm cool with it. So, but yeah, I knew some old addictions and stuff kind of crept back in there. I didn't know to the extent of how bad that was. Um, but you getting in there, I think probably saved your butt quite a bit because
And it in that time it did. In hindsight, it didn't. It was worth it. It
it
was
was,
worth it.
yeah, 100%. It completely was, and I think you were meant to go there. But wasn't it around? Like I know it's a little bit warmer in Georgia and Alabama, but it was still pretty cold. I wanted to say it was around winter time or getting close to it, and didn't really have a sure place to stay and nothing like that. So that's just where I got used to talking to you from. And you were still posting pics and all that. But what made you decide to finally leave there? Was it just
Well, getting it was a 12-month long program, and getting I say about the ninth month in, it was just that worry, and in the back of my mind that when I leave here, I'm gonna have to go to jail
yeah,
eventually.
yeah, yeah,
And that would play a lot of tricks on you. Just having that that thought. I got to go to jail anyways,
yeah? I mean,
and
you would have been right back in the same, maybe not the same kind of mindset, but you would have been looking for a different job, dealing with the vehicle, place to stay, money issues, stress. I mean, that kind of would have almost put you right back to where you was before you went in the place. So what
right.
you ended up deciding to do, and I mean, it's going to be your words and your story, but you ended up making a really bold but very, I think, smart choice in how to handle that because it was just barreling down the track at you, and it was going to either consume you or you were going to face it and deal with it, and you chose to face it and deal with it.
It was a temporary solution for you know immediate outcome at time. Um, and I'm not bashing the place, the recovery place that I went to. Uh, it kept me alive for another 10 months.
But they were supposed to help deal with that issue with the
Correct.
legal stuff, and they didn't. And that's
Correct.
what before we got on screen, me and I'm with Michael Delk. Everybody, if you don't know who this is, if you're on Facebook and don't know who Michael Delk is, that's surprising to me, man. But he's been away from Facebook for a little while, from life as we know it for a little while, and he's back to share that with us where he's been, what he's been going through. And before we came on camera, we were talking about some of these and we're trying not to bash them, right? Because, like you said, man, some people go to those, a lot of them, because they don't have any options left. So, yeah, you're going to
Right.
be provided with a place to stay, some food, electricity, water, job. But when they get you in there and they say, hey, here comes the last, like they got you on the hook to reel at the end, to get you in the boat is when they say, oh, you got warrants and stuff like that. We're going to help you out with that, with your legal problems. That probably helped make that decision easier for people like Michael Delk. He's like, oh, all right, because I was just running from it. It's going to catch up with me. So, okay, that's cool. Let them help me with that. 10 months into it, though, they still weren't doing anything. What happened with all that? Why didn't they help you? And how much resistance did you meet with like asking them, hey, you guys going to make some calls?
I mean, at the time, leadership at the time was just wasn't wasn't equipped at the time to handle his position. Let's just put it like that.
Okay.
Um, you know, they wasn't established as they are now. And I'm not saying it's a bad place. I mean, over time, they're more established at the current moment, and fixed all the problems, and learn from it. Um, but I don't know, bud. Like I said, it was the right decision at the moment.
Yeah.
But you know, looking back on it now, uh, like I said, man, at the end of the day, it was worth it. Like I said, it gave me 10 more months of my life in sobriety.
Sure. You know what? And I started the thing too, and yeah, maybe they're helping people out with that a little bit more frequently now. Maybe we're kind of like unbeknownst, guinea pig with that. If they didn't have the resources and the guy didn't really know what he was doing leadership wise to manage that, then yeah, I mean, you're kind of at the mercy of the leadership in that case. But kind of in hindsight for me, I'm looking at it like, well, God gave you the ability to deal with that yourself, the consequences of that, like with the warrant and the legality of it. So you do all the 10 months there and everything, and it's kind of like coming to an end, and you still got that hanging over your head. And then, so here you are, you decide to make some calls yourself. And
Right.
you had some warrants, a warrant, and you turned yourself in. And take us through that process of how hard it was making that call and how many times you almost changed your mind.
Well, nobody wants to go back to jail. So, um, so when I violated probation, right? Um, they switch your caseload. Anytime that you violate probation, you're no longer the probation officer is no longer your probation officer. They switch you. That's anywhere in the state of Georgia. Uh, they have a chief probation officer who is over all the field probation officers. Um, and I was keeping in contact with a chief probation officer in Muskogee County, just on a regular basis, not formally, but like me and you are talking right now, just having a cushion, somebody I could talk to about my situation. I was checking in with them, once a week, you know, once every couple of weeks, just letting them know, hey, I'm here, I'm working here, I'm doing this, and just pretty much getting advice from them, on
Yeah.
how we, we should do this. And and then I got in the mindset of where I didn't have no new charges. I don't have no messed up charges where I'm on the run and violent. So they're not going to come down kicking the doors down and trying to get me. So it was pretty much you can come turn yourself in tomorrow. You can come turn yourself in next year, but eventually you have to come in and handle the ward in person. So
There's a
just
lot.
having just having that mindset, man. If if I'm just out here in the free world for another 6 months to a year, just stretching it out, you can't live your life like that, man. You can't get a vehicle, you can't get a place to stay, you can't have stability because you know you can be going down the road walking to Walmart and get pulled over by a cop, and automatically it's just you're gone.
Yeah,
Your life stops.
you can't build nothing. I mean, I mean, even to throw the recovery thing in there. I mean, yeah, you might have been doing good, clean and sober a year or two, but I mean, you're not recovering.
You're not recovering properly, man.
Yeah, with
You
that,
know,
with something like that hanging over your head. No, I mean that'd be like saying, "Well, I'm sober, I'm in recovery, but I got this stash at the house I know about just in case or something." You got to get rid of all that stuff. And you're sober and if you were under the influence for so long, I mean, I think you would have just kept running because you wouldn't have really been in the right frame of mind. But even still, even if you weren't in the right frame of mind, I mean, I think that I believe God led you to make that right decision because it's one right decision that's kind of like got that off your shoulders, off your back, and now you could truly start being like, okay, I'm going to piece this together. I'm sober now. You can tell us how long that's been if you want to, but now you could start building.
You want me to tell you my plans I got now, or
Yeah, I'd
might
love
want
to
to
hear.
hold off on that?
Well, I got a ton of
All right,
questions
so
for you.
all right, well, fire off, then.
All right, so you finally, I just wanted to know this, man, and you can give me like short answers if you want. But today, because I remember we talked once before, there was one other time before you went in, and that I think you even went live for a minute. You were turning yourself in. You thought this was it. You went in, and then the next thing we know, like an hour or two later, you're back on Facebook. You did a live. You said some stuff, and they didn't take you. But I was like, well, heck, maybe it ain't that bad. But eventually, like when you went to turn yourself in, because you came to the conclusion, like I'm not going to just live out here and exist with this hanging over my head. So you wanted to face it, and you thought it was going to be like maybe a weekend, a week or so, but it was a little bit longer than that. So tell us how long that was, and then what happened once you thought you were going to get that initial release.
So after that program, I went to a couple more places after that, and had some good experience at one or two of them. Had some very bad experience at one or two of them. And when I say bad, there's some bad programs out here, bud.
Yeah.
They're I'm not going to name them names, but uh, this one place in Alabama, it's out in the country. It's a little 3-bedroom house. They got 22 guys sleeping in the kitchen, sleeping in the garage,
It sounds like a flop
sleeping
house.
on the floors in the living room, and nasty. Not equipped. No food in the house, no washers and dryers. Uh, just one raggedy vehicle trying to get the guys back and forth to work. And I stayed there for about not even a week. Like I had to leave from there.
I don't blame you.
But, yeah, I had to leave, and a lot of guys left from there. Like I don't see how legally they could be up and running like that, and I don't think they are. But that's besides the point.
Yeah.
But I learned a lot from this experience. Just firsthand experience the recovery side of it, and also the business side of it.
Hmm.
I end up working for a couple of these places. Day to day living. End up helping on staff, and I learned a lot. What works, what doesn't work, what the shady part of it, the good parts of it. But at the end of the day, try to make it all positive, all good. I'm not going to sit here and bash recovery houses. We're thankful that they're saving lives. Even if somebody comes in for just a night and sleeps on the floor in an abandoned house,
True.
they're not sleeping on the street and overdosing.
So you were able to be like a benefit to a few of them while you were working at them?
Yes.
And did you learn anything from being on that side of it that helps your own recovery?
No, absolutely.
Seeing it from
Absolutely.
your
This is what I want to do for the rest of my life, man. This is my call in recovery.
no kidding. Okay,
Uh,
it seems kind of obvious to me
boots on the
now.
ground, boots on the ground in the trenches, living with them. I don't want to come in and punch the time clock and stay there for 6 to 8 hours a day. Like I want to be there, living with the guys, going to meeting with the guys. You know, going out to the lake with the guys. Actually getting to the core of sobriety, man.
Wow.
And being in the military and being around that type of environment. My environment, my whole life has been military, prison, institutions, programs. You put me in a bunk bed, I'm at home. You put me around guys, I'm at home, and that's just my lifestyle.
I get it. How much do you think your military background helps you with like dealing with a bunch of different personalities? Sometimes volatile, I'm sure.
Yeah, yes. Um, and you see it a lot, man. You got people who want it, and you got people who are just going through the motions and not there for the right reasons. But if you get guys and women there who want recovery and really put in the work for recovery, I mean, it's a beautiful thing.
When you see those, and I know you could spot them, the ones that they're already kind of leading themselves. You know what I mean? They want it, and then from the ones that are just like they just want to get off the streets. They might have wanted to die, just getting arrested, whatever, cool off for a while, dry out. Do you kind of lean in and kind of gravitate towards spending a little bit more time with those ones that really, really want it because they remind you of you at some certain point?
I mean, absolutely, because it helps everybody. If you have a positive attitude about anything in life, especially about recovery, bettering yourself, and just being proactive, you're going to be more proactive back. You're going to give more.
And that's
Just like jails and prisons. If you got guys sitting around and playing cards and gambling and horse playing, you're eventually going to do all that. But if you get guys who say, "Hey, let's grab this Bible and sit down and do a Bible study," then you're going to start a ministry.
a good point. You gravitate towards what you want to be and who you want to be around. I mean, and thinking of it, still back from like a military standpoint, if you had 20 guys in your battalion squad, I'm not even sure what you call it, but if you know that like 5 or 6 of them are hesitant or kind of like detrimental or standoffish, they're not going to run first to the front lines. Those aren't really the ones that you probably want to like, run next to or be behind because they probably won't have your back.
Right.
Okay. Well, so you had to like, well, is that where you were working at one of these places when you finally decided to make that call or go turn yourself in and do that time?
Okay. So when I decided to turn myself in, I'm honest about my life and especially on my Facebook. Sometimes I got my moments where I give it my all on Facebook, and
Yeah.
and, and really truthful. with myself and a lot of other people. Um, there's people on here that have watched me the past couple of years, like, just me raw, like putting it all out there. And I've gotten so much support off of, I mean, when I was sleeping in this car right here in the back seat, and during winter, I
Yeah.
I mean, I parked this car at work, went to work every day, came back outside, slept in the car, and went back to work the next morning. Just struggling to make it.
Yeah, we
Um,
talked we talked plenty of times about how you were getting pretty exhausted and doing that because that was such a routines are good, but that's all you were doing. You were working
that's
from
all
like
I
a
was doing.
7, 8 in the morning to almost 7, 8 at night. And you go to eat and shower maybe and go to sleep. And I was like, man, he don't have nothing else going on. I mean, not to sound like a what, but I'm like, that's not enough. But I know Mike a little bit. He needs something else to look forward to other than just clocking in, clocking out, going to the car, can't stretch out. So I was worried. I couldn't think of anything to say to really encourage you, you know.
But yeah, I mean, a group of y'all kept me going. If I wasn't talking to you on FaceTime for hours, I was talking to somebody else on FaceTime for hours, and just really helping myself out by talking to people in recovery, and just positive people, man. When I got out of prison, man, I did 10 years in prison. And when I got out, it was just, okay, you're out, you're free. 10 years, I mean, it's the longest thing I ever done in my life. 10 years in prison. And getting out into the times that we live in today with the economy, and just when I got locked up, I still had a Nokia flip phone. When I got out of prison, I went to Jimmy John's. It took me 5 minutes to fill up a, a, a soft drink. So I didn't know how to work the digital dispenser.
Sure. Yeah, I don't mess with them
You
either, to
know,
be honest with you. I get it. I get that still. And I mean, it's the times are more uncertain too, you know. And it's not like you didn't have enthusiasm and a positive mindset and everything, but uh, you know, there were still some things that were at for you, and um, I like to think that God granted you another chance now, and He's wiped a few things
man,
off your slate.
I'm blessed, Trav. My whole life has been a struggle, and I wouldn't be me without all the strife and the struggle that I go through.
True, but I mean, I'd still like to think that I think everything kind of balances out. So I mean, I think you deserve some smooth roads. It doesn't mean
Oh
that
yeah,
things are going to keep happening, but you deserve a little bit of a breather and a nice stroll for a while
and
instead of
and,
just
and I get an emergency lane every once in a while and cruise. So it balances out.
um
Balances out.
man, it's good to be talking to you. So
Yeah.
let me set this up. So you turn yourself in. You had a warrant. You thought you're going to do somewhat of a short amount of time, but it ended up being about 30 days. You thought you were getting out, but that wasn't the case. So tell us what happened with
So
that.
so one of the reasons why, well, the main reason I left that place is um I've been wanting to go to this one recovery program for ever since I wanted to join recovery. and y'all know who I'm talking about. Jimmy McGill and Next Step Recovery in Arkansas.
Yeah.
Um, been following his page for the longest time. And just watching his videos and watching the guys and friending the guys and talking to the guys and just everything that they do is like, man, that them boys are having fun and they're sober. That's what I want, and so that's what I got. um I kept calling Jimmy and checking in with him about, hey man, I want to come to Arkansas. I want to come to Arkansas. You can ask Jimmy if he's watching this right now. About 6 months, I would comment on all his lives. Man, I'm ready. Let me come. Let me come. And and the only thing that was kind of holding me up was, you know, uh, the processing. They didn't want me to come there with my probation violation. So they wanted me to. It'd been better if I would have got it handled, then come out there, right?
Sure.
So of course I don't want to do that, you know. I because I would have, I would have went to jail, and at the time have to wait to go there, which I'm doing now anyways. But finally, I called my probation officer, well, the chief probation officer. Like I said, I was in contact with him, man, checking in with him, and we was on good terms, man. He supported and he respected my decision, even though legally that's not the right thing to do, but morally and as a human being, that was the right thing to do, and he supported it. Um, and so I finally went out to Arkansas. My probation officer was like, "Look, you can go out to Arkansas if you want to. That's on you. But eventually you got to come back to Georgia and go to jail. It wasn't no, sign some paperwork and fix it that way. I had to physically go in front, of the court system to handle it. So y'all, a lot of people know that I went out there to Arkansas for about what I think like 10 days maybe. Fell in love with the place, man. Fell in love with Jimmy. All the guys, Hayden Dugan, Adam. Um, and I wanted to be there, man. Like, man, this is a fantastic place, man. I want to be here. And you know, leaving leaving one place and going farther away from my family and my roots. Uh, it's just like, man, if I spend a year here, no matter the outcome, if if I had $10 in my bank account or if I had $30,000 in my bank account, working the program, I still have to come back to Georgia. And at the end of the day, it's jail. The outcome, no matter what, was going to be jail. So me and Jimmy sat down and we talked, and we came. Well, it was more me. Um, I talked to my probation officer, and I was honest with him. Like, look, man, I want to get this handled. Let's handle this, clear, my warrants, my violation, and let me be free and really work a program. So that's where I'm at today. Um, I have no warrants. I have no violations. I have, I can walk down the street and don't have to get in a running stance every time police walks by me. and I can actually do this recovery, man, the right way.
Be able
And
to be able to focus on it and let it really get through you and become you, because it couldn't become you when you still was like you said, if you would have went out there and did a year, in Arkansas, yeah, you would have learned a lot of stuff and everything else, but how much of that could you have been able to really apply to your life with them being able to snatch you up anytime, and then everything's on hold again, and then
right. And I would have been, let's say I would have completed the program and came back to Georgia and did the time that I just did and get released in Georgia, and what's next? I'm still trying to get back on my I'm trying to get my life together right now, you
yeah.
know? Um so now I'm gonna get back in recovery to another program, which I have big plans. I don't want to announce it right now, but really get on the grind of recovery and have a future in recovery and not have the outcome of jail after my recovery.
You're able to do that now.
The next the next time I'm going into the prison system or a jail cell is to get guys out of prison and jail and get them into recovery. That's the only way I'm going back to prison.
Oh, I absolutely see that. Um, I mean, you got to know how equipped you are to be a an impactful recovery coach, influencer, whatever you want to call it, peer support, whatever. I think you have the ability to relate to just about anybody in addiction, um, across the board. I mean, almost every situation you could think of, as far as me and you have had conversations, you've been in, away from home, homeless, broke, living in the car, relapsing, military, prison, depression. I mean, you can relate to them on everything. So no matter who comes in front of you, they're going to share something that you're going to be like, "Yep, I was there." That's huge. If you don't have the lived experience, what really do you have to share with anybody to give them hope?
You was cutting out.
Oh, I was going to say you got all the lived experience to share with people. No matter what story somebody might come and talk to you, and going into prison or whatever, talk to somebody, you're going to be able to relate to every situation somebody throws at you. Am I still cutting out?
No, you good?
Oh, okay. And so at least now that's your mindset. Like, yeah, you just been out like what, 48 hours almost. So you're still kind of just enjoying that, but your mindset is to get into some recovery program and eventually be a leader, maybe, at a sober living house, whatever. But you're gonna turn this mess into a career.
Well, I don't want to get into details of. I don't know if you know, but me and a military buddy of mine that go way back, uh, for about a year now, we've been in the process of putting our heads together on something.
Okay.
And springtime was the deadline, and the day how it all lined up to me going to these different recovery houses, learning my own mistakes, learning their mistakes, learning, like I said, the business side of it, the resident side of it, the the ins and outs, the networking, the classes, the NA, AA, church, outreach. Uh, Springtime just hit, and I got this probation, all this legal stuff behind me, and it's go time. Um, I I will not be a resident of Georgia here shortly.
Huh. Okay.
I can go ahead and tell you the location: Topeka, Kansas.
Oh, all right. That's still about the same.
Topeka, Kansas.
Okay.
Uh,
Who do I know in Kansas? Now you're making me think of who I know in Kansas. But okay.
Topeka, Kansas. We're about to put a recovery house on the map in Topeka.
Wow. I'll tell you ahead of time. I mean, I don't know who your buddy is you're working with, but if this is going to be like your guys' thing, um, I mean, I support it already. You know that. I wish nothing but luck. But I mean, you're going to pursue this with everything you got.
And him being military, me being military, combat together, you know, the code written in both of us, for him to give me a mission statement on what he wants, and for me to run it the way that I want to run it,
Wow.
it's an unspeakable bond that it's just I'm about to take off on this recovering.
And it's something that you needed too, and that's a big trust. If you got somebody like that working alongside you, um, it's still a war. I mean, staying sober, recovery, it's still a war. So you guys approaching it from like a tactical kind of mindset. I don't see how it couldn't be successful and a blessing. And that's a good location for it. I don't know how much is in Kansas, recovery house wise and everything. There's a huge drug problem in Kansas. I know that.
Right.
Um,
I I know the location where our property is at. There's walking distance to a recovery center that I'm in network with, and network with the whole community really, and start a whole new name for ourselves.
dude, I love
It'll
that.
be it'll be faith based. We'll be linked to a certain church. Uh, Probably move some guys that I personally know in recovery over to Kansas, and
Okay.
just here in the next couple years, hopefully this video is saved and we can look back on this.
Well, it will be. And I want you to know. Look, I want to talk more frequently than we were before we just stopped talking. I mean, you really couldn't talk when you had to go in for a few months and everything, but it was kind of like it was dying off a lot even before that. And I don't know. I'm not even really sure why necessarily you were into a whole bunch of different stuff and kind of unsure about some things. But I want to recommit myself to you, as your friend and brother, right now. If I don't at least hit you up once every couple of days, hey, what's up? How you doing? Just saying hi. We don't have to have a conversation every day, but you're somebody that's always was meant to be in my circle, in my journey, and I want to do my part. And also let you know, whoever your friend is, I hope he sends me a friend request. I'd like to get to know him and talk to him, but you could use God-based recovery for anything that's going to promote your guys's your rehab and recovery efforts out there in Kansas, just so you know.
I sent him the link right before I got on, so
Um,
he should be on here, or he knows.
okay.
And let me tell you a funny story. You know, our past from him us knowing each other as, you know, young soldiers that been through it, and my life after the military, and PTSD, and all everything that comes with being a combat veteran. Um, and when I got out of prison a couple years ago, and when I really found Jesus, when I got out of prison, I didn't find Jesus in combat, getting shot at, getting blown up. I didn't find it in prison, with all the violence. I found it when I got out of prison, and I went to Change Church in Grantville, Georgia, with Pastor TJ Boyd. But for him to see my journey, and everybody to see my journey, um, all my faults, all my flaws, all my screw ups, all my relapses, just being, you know, open and honest about pretty much everything in my life. You know, it helps me to navigate life as my experiences. Opening up, talking to people. Getting down to the nitty gritty on life. But for him to watch my journey, and getting sober, and recovering out loud, and not falling back to my old ways, and you know that old lifestyle with the drugs, the crime, the just being a crappy person. Just being a positive person, wanting to do right, trying to do right. It's a struggle to do right. Um, but for
Good
him
point.
to but for him to see my transition back into society, and in the world that we're living in, it encouraged him to do this for me and for him, is to open up a recovery house. And just the impact that I had on him, to be like, man, you're doing great. Even though that you're not doing great, you're doing great. You're defeating all these obstacles. Man, you've been through it, but you're getting through it. And just giving him the inspiration, and be like, man, let's open up a house, man. Let's apply your skills, and put his skills with it. He's pretty well off on finances, and the VA system, and benefits, and tech savvy, smart. And me being in the trenches, putting our heads together, I mean, we could really do some big things. So that's where we're at right now.
I can see it. I can see it. Um, let me ask a couple questions. Uh, there's something I've been wanting to talk about for a long time. I don't know if you're going to want to. I mean, I know you're one of the most truthful people I talk to, and have in the last few years, and I don't know if this was still going on around the time we stopped talking and things kind of started, going downhill a little bit, but there was this legal substance called kratom. And do you care to share any experiences with that safer alternative substance? And was that something that you got into too much, there before, you turned yourself in and all that? Or what's your opinions
I mean,
on that?
absolutely, I will. And
Okay. They don't get talked
this,
about enough. And
it doesn't, and there's some influencers right now that you know of. I don't want to put no names out there, but it's a big deal right now. There's one influencer out there right now who's got a couple 100,000 followers, and like I said, I don't want to put too much information, but this same topic, and it really took him down through there, man. Like he's in recovery right now for 90 days. Like he just went to recovery for 90 days,
Wow.
and he was influencing thousands and thousands of people, and people in the recovery community was seeing signs of it, and it was like, man, you need help, brother. Like, let's get you some help. And it's talked about, but it's not talked about.
Right. Yeah.
And the gas station dope, what they call it here in Georgia. I know Arkansas has it banned. There's a few states right now that have it banned completely. But I did slip up in recovery multiple times, and I was honest about it with a lot of people. Like me and you even talked, man. I was in tears talking to you on the phone, and Drew Hicks. I was sitting out front of my probation office, like, man, I'm like, this stuff's got a hold of me, man. I know you remember that day.
Yeah, I do. And I had never heard of it before until we were having those conversations. And I was like, I don't know what none of this is, but I know this ain't helping them. It's not good. Even in text message, you could tell that it was affecting you. And I'm like, what the hell? I thought you were good. I thought you were doing decent. You were grinding, getting by, working, doing whatever, And I was like, this can't be good. This is no alternative. No addict can switch to something else and think that they can just take it casually. And
Yeah,
it was
and
sad. I had no idea what to say to you, and that sucked because I usually do, but on this one I'm like, just don't take it. I don't, that don't work.
And it's easy for you to get away with it, but not get away with it, right?
Right.
And now over time, these recovery houses, they're catching on to it, so they're doing a good job at that. Used to, months and months ago, you can take a 12-panel drug test and still be on it, but now there's recovery houses. It's such an epidemic right now in the recovery community where uh, recovery houses are, they got the 16 panel where it tests for nicotine, alcohol, kratom. I mean, steroids. I mean, you name it. There's no getting by. So it's catching up, but it's also, and I seen it firsthand. 7-OH kratom is pure extract kratom that you could buy at any local gas station. Not every gas station, but if you know, you know. Um, and it's pretty much a Percocet or a Roxy that is on the front counter, and it's legal to buy. It's expensive. It's expensive. Uh, Here right now in Georgia, you can find them at a couple gas stations, and they're probably about $15 a pill.
Gosh.
And at the time when you know I first started doing it, I was turned on to it by a person at the gas station. Like, hey, try these out. Didn't know what it was. You know, it's not the kratom that everybody thinks that's kratom at the gas station. Buy 100 pills for $9.99. No, this is pressed pills at the gas station, and You know, I was an opiate addict, and I would choose one gas station pill over a Roxy 30 any day. And if anybody knows what I'm talking about, you would probably say you're crazy. But I mean, it's a God honest truth. I lived it. I went through it. You know.
How quickly did you know? I mean, I don't know what you thought you were taking, but maybe like just a little bit like a yellow jacket or a dietary supplement or something, maybe like drinking a Monster. So you weren't thinking it was going to give you the feeling that it did. But once you took that, I assume it was just one, but once you took that and it was getting in your system, I mean, did that just kind of bring back all the addictive mindset of like your opiate use? Like, did you know, like,
Oh, absolutely.
this is not really what I wanted, but then your addict mind was like, oh, hey, here it is. And then you just, how quickly did it get you is what I'm asking.
It got me pretty quick, and I'll tell you why. Um, you know, if you're on the street and that's your DOC, um, not you have a network of people who supply that, and it runs out. It's a hassle getting. If I try to call, which I don't associate with people who use, but if I was to call somebody up right now and try to get my DOC, it'll take a while to get it, to find it, to go through the process of getting it. So I can walk down to this gas station right here, 2 miles down the road, and I can buy unlimited supply of it anytime, 24/7.
So the convenience of it just adds to the addiction. And I mean, like they say, once you pick back up, you kind of start off where you left off. And this grabbed you pretty quick. And you kind of thought like, ooh, it's a new thing. I ain't got to run all over town. Was it? I don't want to ask dumb questions here, but once you kind of started feeling the effects of it, was it just like, did you know that you were going to be doing more, or that you thought you could handle it and go through all the lies and stuff?
I mean, anything that you do, it increases. Of course, it increases. And I'll take that back. Some people could probably do it once a week, or once every other day, or even once a month when they go out for a couple drinks with their friends. But to be an addict, it's worse than any street drug that I know of.
Wow.
Besides fentanyl.
You got to tell me why that is. I mean, I'm thinking to myself, heroin, meth. What makes it the worst, or one of the worst?
Access.
Oh, okay.
And access, and thinking that you can get away with it. To be honest and be truthful to the core, thinking that you can get away with it.
Wow.
Because if I go to the gas station, I think I can legally buy it, and it won't show up on a drug test. Well, now most places it will show up on a drug test, but just getting away with it and thinking that nobody thinks that you're doing it.
How did? Go ahead.
If you Googled what I'm talking about right now, I'll send you a picture of it earlier. If you Google the pills that I'm talking about, it's 13 times more potent than morphine. 13 times more potent than morphine.
I mean,
That's ridiculous.
They got to get the stuff out of the gas stations. I mean, there's so many things going on,
and they do.
Like it's got to be.
And they do. And Next week it'll be a different name and a different package and a different shape.
It's true. I mean, I don't. They're not beneficial. I don't want to have the argument and debate with anybody about how beneficial they are. It's really. I mean, yeah, anybody, like you said, somebody might be able to do it once a month or whatever, once a week, but they know what they're selling and they know who's buying this stuff or who has access to it. God forbid any 14-year-old kid goes in there and I mean, even if they steal them, people steal, right? If they can't buy them because they're not 18, I don't know if that's even a thing, but it's not anything that anybody needs in their system. You just there's no health benefit to it. And for the addict and recovery, well, yeah, it's not FDA approved for one thing, but I mean, especially for addicts in recovery and stuff, if they don't really know or heard about it too much, and they're like, oh, this is with like the 5-hour power energy shots, and it's over here by some vapes and stuff. It seems like it can't be harmful. Hell, I used to do meth and heroin, all, you know what I mean? So you're thinking to yourself as a former addict, there ain't no way this one pill in this counter at the gas station is going to do anything to me. But like you said, you took it and it was kind of immediate. You knew you had, like, it provided some kind of old feeling that had been there before, and you knew it kind of got you quickly. Like, effects wise, I'm sure it increased the amount. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I'm sure like over a couple months, you were probably taking more than one. Was the effects of these kratom pills like similar to how the opiates affected you?
Oh, absolutely. And I wouldn't say better because it's not better, but stronger.
Wow. And I mean, in your mind, your recovery, you're talking, you're on Facebook, you're the influencer guy, you're dealing with what you got to deal with, but you're not really sneaking around because you're going to the gas station. People see you going to the gas station. You're not going down a back alley, going over here, driving over here. It kind of tricks your mind into thinking like, hey, I could have this feeling and function and work and still put out positive posts and nobody's going to know. Like, it can't be that bad. I could have best of both worlds. But
right.
I mean, so where did it lead you though? I mean, that's not the case. That's what our minds tell us. But how bad did it get and when did it end? Like how much was you taking? I'm sorry to go on for this for so long, but I don't want nobody taking this.
Let's talk about it.
I can't stand this kratom stuff and a lot of people condoning it. I won't even have the conversation with them. Especially if they're like in recovery and stuff. I'm like, I just move on. Where did this lead you? How much was you taking? What was like the worst moment of it? How'd you get off of it? All that.
So the time that we talked, me and Drew Hicks talked, and I reached out for help, man. I'm like, Trav, man, this stuff's got a hold of me. I got to shake this. I don't know what to do. Even Drew Hicks, shout out to Drew Hicks. He taught me through it, and he was brutally honest with, how Drew Hicks is. Tighten up. Like, what are you doing? You gotta get a hold of this. I will say this is my personal story. This is, me. It sent me to rehab. Not fentanyl, not methamphetamine, not heroin. Kratom sent me to rehab.
Did you overdose on it?
No, not on that.
Okay. You can though.
Oh, absolutely you can.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely you can.
Thank God. Let me say this right quick. Thank God that, like, I don't know how far you were into it, but I mean, obviously the addiction took over. You were still buying them, but at the same time knew that you shouldn't be taking them. But your body's hooked on them. You used to be an opiate addict, and here's that kind of better feeling in quotes. But at least you're still kind of, I feel like, protected. I mean, you made the choice, kind of unbeknownst to you. I don't think you knew what you were buying. I don't think you thought that was going to do what it did. but you still were like, man, I'm still taking these, but I know I shouldn't. I got to get off these. These are going. What if they take them off the shelves all of a sudden? Now you can't get it. What are you probably going to do? You're going to probably try to find some old contacts. You ain't going to be like, oh, well, no more kratom. I'm going to just stop taking it. That's not how addicts do it. So you still had the conscience of being like, man, it didn't kill your honesty. It didn't take that from you. It might have been leading you down a dark path, but your willingness to be truthful, that's what really saved your butt, because you still were willing to talk about it and reach out to some people.
And I've reached out to a dozen people about the subject. Like, this is what's going on. This is what I got going on. Help me, like this stuff's got a hold of me. I wouldn't say I was strung out on them, but I was taking more than what I should have. It took up, more time than what it should have. But some people can take, like I said, some people can take one a week or on a special occasion and be perfectly fine. But for me, being, a former addict, man, that stuff's the devil, man. Like I know people right now who are talking about it, on Facebook, and a lot of people agree with me. It's probably the worst withdrawal to come off of, and a lot of people have to take Suboxone to get off of it.
Wow.
So it's just, it's a bad deal all around, man. If you're taking this stuff, quote unquote, legally, and you need another medicine to get off that and then withdraw from that medicine, it's just, it's insanity.
It is. It's just, so did you go through any tough withdrawals for it? I mean, I know you had to stop eventually. Well, you have, obviously. Like, how was it towards the end when you did your last bit and finally got off of it?
When I finally left Georgia, I pretty much locked myself in a room for a couple of days, and I sweated out and really had to come to Jesus meeting with, this, I'm gonna end up back in jail and in prison, or in a worse condition that that I'm currently in.
Gosh. And that's what led you to rehab.
Yeah.
Man, I'm glad, brother, because I just think that we're only starting to hear about the repercussions of this stuff. I think it's horrible. I think it needs to be absolutely banned everywhere. They want to keep repackaging it. Well, you go after the companies and you see if they change their names, and there needs to be a whole government task force on this stuff. It's not beneficial. You even said the point about, like, well, there's some people that might be able to take it once a month and be fine. Well, if you're already that fine, then you don't need to take anything at all anyway.
Right.
You're fine. So don't even play around with it. Who knows? They might get a pill that's maybe extra something else, and who knows, and that's it. Like, you don't need it. Don't do it. I appreciate you talking about that, man, boldly and truthfully. It just, yeah, like I said, I had never heard of it until you were mentioning it to me, and I'm like, hell, I can't help my friend. I don't know nothing about that. Opiates wasn't my thing. It was the stimulants and the uppers and all that, but I'm like, this can't be good, and I'm glad you had other people that were more in depth with, like, opiates and, like, how that stuff goes and how it affects the body. And you're here with us today, but I'd like to be able to safely say that, man, I don't think that's something you might see yourself in a gas station eventually, but I don't think you're going to pick that stuff back up, man. You don't have to at all, for nothing.
No, absolutely not.
Oof. Well, let me go on to this right quick. I'll try to wrap up here pretty soon, but you're getting a lot of love and support, man, in the comments, and everybody's happy to see you. I told Deb I was going to ask about this, and then I got a confirmation on it, so I got to do it. This might be a little bit of putting you on the spot, but I'm going to do it anyway.
All right.
How much do you love your mom, brother? Because she's been a big support of you. She was posting stuff for you when you were in, letting people know what was going on. I'm pretty sure she's watching now. So, you know, if it's too much of a private matter, then I'll shut my mouth. But, you know, if you got anything you want to say to your mom and let everybody know how you feel about her, please do.
Well, she's over there in the house right now. She's probably in tears right now. You know, I'm her baby boy. It, you know, she's my rock, man. Like, I'm at the point in my life where, you know, I'm 40 years old, man. I've been through it. I'm not where I want to be, but I'm where I need to be. And you know, that's spending time with my mom, man. I don't have, you know, a house out in California and not talking to her. You know what I mean? Like, I'm here with her, man. You know, she's going through it, but I'm going through it with her, man. Like, you know, it's a struggle out here, and it's a struggle for a lot of people, man. You know, who can afford, you know, $4 for a gallon of gas right now? It's just the times are different. The drugs are different. I mean, society is different, you know. And that's why I'm so big on recovery, man, because, you know, 10, 15, 20 years ago, people could do drugs almost every day and have a great time and, you know, working 9 to 5 the next morning, you know. But today, in the times that we live in, you know, you got all these designer drugs, you got this fentanyl, which it scares the mess out of me, you know. Uh, you know, they did a study in Walmart that I was reading on, and they they tested a they tested a handle on a push buggy at Walmart, and it had traces of fentanyl on it. You know, it's just
Wow.
it's a scary thing, man. Like the overdoses, you know, all my friends right now are either dead, in prison, or in recovery. And you know, I choose recovery for the rest of my remaining years. And I want to help as many people to find sobriety for as long as I can. Um, and we just have to stick together because, you know, every 5 minutes I'm on the verge of a relapse. So are you. So are, you know, the people watching this. Every 5 minutes I'm on the verge of relapse. And it's taking good people away from this world, man. Um, I mean, you see it. You know, every time I scroll down Facebook, is, you know, somebody OD'd, somebody passed away, and they're prestige people. You know,
Yeah.
higher upper class, and you know,
Yeah.
straight A student in high school. Like, it don't discriminate.
No, I mean they can go to one party and be gone, man, and it's just nobody has immunity over it, and
Yeah, no, nobody's safe.
I just know this, man. When you allow Christ into the mix, though, um, that's a pretty good warrior for you. Anybody that's battling addiction and trying to stay sober on their own, you know, that don't have that higher power which I choose to call Christ as their Lord and Savior, man, I think you're just making it 100 times harder for yourself.
Right.
That's what it took for me, man, and has benefited me so much today. I wouldn't be here without him. I don't think either one of us really would be here without him.
No. And when I found Jesus, I found recovery. And when I got into recovery, I found Jesus.
Yeah. There is no recovery without God in the mix for me. Um, oof. Mike, what else you want to talk about, brother? You kind of caught me up, man. I just want to stay in contact with you. I want you to give my best to your mom. Um, what's the next few weeks going to look like for you? What do you want to tell everybody that's tuning in, going to be watching this? There'll be a ton of people to watch this after we're done, but it's a
So
way to catch up with everybody
so
real quick.
so right now, I'm clear of my warrants. I'm clear of being on the run and look over my shoulder. Um, yeah, first thing Monday morning, I do have to go check in with my new probation officer and really sit down and map out which direction I'm going. Um, because I can't live in Georgia. You know, legally I can't live in Georgia. I'm banished from the circuit, which is pretty much all the surrounding areas. So I can't be here if I wanted to.
Hmm.
So Kansas, man, Kansas is next, and like I said, I don't want to give out too much details because the person involved in it, but you'll be hearing about us. You'll be hearing
Sure.
about me. I'm This has to be my success story, Trav. From right now forward, this I will be a success story.
It's up to you. And I mean, I don't think God has written you a unsuccessful story. So just keep following that, man. And every day God's going to bring an opportunity to you. Just go with his plan and stick with this partner, this buddy that you got. Um, and maybe don't put yourself out there so much. Everybody don't need to know every move you're making all the time, but once you get where you're going and get established, that's going to open up a whole other world for you too. So if this is what you want to do, God knows it. It's written on your heart. Just pursue it with everything you got. Make sure you balance it with some fun now and then, some times with mom and stuff like that, and whatever else you got going on with family members and friends. That'll all come back to you. Just
Yeah,
keep.
this project right here is going to be a lot of patience, a lot of patience, and just one day at a time with what we got going on,
Well,
and it's just going to build from from the time that we touch down, and like I said, y'all might not hear about us for 2-3 months until we finally have a mission statement, and we're established where we can get out there more and more.
I mean, I wish nothing. I pray for nothing but success for you guys and for everybody's lives that you're going to be touching with this project, the sober living house. Just your presence and knowledge and experience and compassion that you can loan or give to that next person. Make a bunch of other Michael Delks out there, man. That's not such a bad thing. If this world had more Michael
Yeah,
Delks
it
in
ain't
it,
such a bad thing. It
we'd
ain't
be
such a
okay.
bad thing.
Well,
But
especially this.
I want to say, man, I'm not no big time Facebook influencer, digital creator. I don't get on here and do a lot. But what I do comes from the heart. It comes from, me being me, man. And like, I don't have a huge following. I don't want a huge following. I get hundreds of friend requests a day, and you know, if you don't have over a couple thousand friends or 100 pictures, I'm blocking you. You know what I mean? Like, the people on my page are like, they're real deal people that I talk to, and I just don't have numbers on there.
Yeah. I,
Like I said,
we're,
I don't want a huge following. I'm just a nobody, man. I'm just a nobody trying to better my life and better the ones around me.
well, you might be a nobody, but a lot of people know you, so you're somebody to somebody else, man, for sure. But
The
I mean,
good, the bad, the ugly.
well, I love you, man, because I seen your heart from the beginning. The first conversations we had, I'm like, I just want to be surrounded by real people. If they fall, they tell you they fell. They tell you how they fell, why they get back up. I just want the truth in all forms. Don't just give me
Right.
inspirational, positive stuff all the time, and then you ghost people if you're having a bad day. Share your bad day. If you can get on this screen and post and do good live videos, uplifting, and you can't get on there and share your hurts and what you're going through, then that's not for me. That's not true. That's not true authenticity, and I gotta have that. You know,
I mean,
we don't got no image to maintain.
y'all done see me in tears a few times, crying
Yeah,
a few times, man. And it's just,
well, it's real.
you know, it's real, man. Life's no joke, man. It's
Yeah, this world has enough fake stuff in it, man. It has enough quick quick fix schemes going around. I just want to see realness. You know what I mean? Like, I don't need no AI to like put tears on my eyes. That just happens now and then. I still do that from time to time. 2 years into this doing lives, but I told people, my whole thing was like, I'm going to be truthful and willing. That's all the kind of people I want around me. You're going to get me on my good days, my bad days, and everything in between. If that ain't good enough, then so be it. But the ones that are sticking around today, that's who I love, respect, and will grow and move forward with. And you're one of those people.
I appreciate it. Same to you. And I'm probably going to get a couple video calls after this, and I'm probably going to tear up with them conversations. But man, I met some great people on here, man. Like,
Yeah.
I've so many strangers that turn into like real people I talk to every day, and everybody knows I like the video chat, man. I just might randomly video call you and talk for 30 minutes just about life and my day, and you know
I do too, though. I do too. I prefer it. But yeah, you do that. you just, I remember you used to put up posts about like, who wants to get, video called or chat right quick, random or something. Just pick people and just start
yeah,
video calling. I think that's
that
awesome.
yeah, I had a good job at the time, man. I operated heavy machinery, so I had the setup where I could just push the button and just ride out hands free and just talk all day, and that's how I got through today, man. Just talking to people and talking about real stuff, man.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I got a few of those calls. It was pretty cool. And it's free. You're just doing your thing. You're doing your job, but you're able to connect and put some stuff out there at the same time. So yeah, it was good. I'm just glad you're back, man. I'm glad all that's over with. I'm glad that you got your phone back from your mom and she ain't got to post nothing for you anymore. That's about all I got for you on here. I know we're going to talk every day. I hope at least a few times a week. You're going to be busy, stay healthy. Um,
Yeah, I gained 30 pounds when I was locked up. So
Good. Ain't nothing wrong with that. That's called fat
yeah,
recovery.
yeah.
Brother, you want to say anything at the end here as we're probably going to pray out? And I just want to thank you for coming on here and doing this.
Um, people in recovery, man, they don't have it like me. I don't have an appointed title. I don't think I'm, I have a title in my experience and my recovery and my passion. So, I mean, recovery where it's at right now. You know what I'm saying? So get out there, share your story, man. Check on people who are, going through it. Try to help people. Like once I started getting people reaching out to me saying, "Hey, man, do you know a program that's around, or do you know any connections?" Just, dude, anybody could do it. Just network with each other. If you know a place, help somebody out, man. There's so many people right now who are seeking help and recovery, and all it takes for you to, just put the information out there. You know, um, and there's it's not a competition, man. Your recovery program and my recovery program, or this one down the street, we're not in competition with each other. And I just want to say that and stress that, man. Like, we're all on the same side, man. We're all on the same side of this green grass right here, and that's all that matters.
That's a heck of a point, man. I mean, there really ain't no finish line until
There's not.
until that.
I've told a couple people, like, in the programs I was in, everybody says, my recovery date is April 16th, blah blah blah, and I don't look at it like that, man. I don't have a recovery date. There's not a day that I graduate recovery.
True. I just remember the day
I'm not.
I just remember the moment, the day I really surrendered, man. I made that one big, real honest prayer that seemed to kind of turn everything around. So yeah, I don't have my clean sober date's the same as my surrender date. Because if I didn't surrender my life that day, I don't think I can't say confidently that I'd be sitting here or sober today. I just know what it took for me, and surrendering that day has granted me the ability to live every day and every night sane, sober, and serene. And that's just part of my story. I'm not a big day counter either, but I remember the day, and I always will. 11/14 of 23
Right.
was a very pivotal day in my life. One life ended and another one began.
Absolutely.
But hey, speaking of, let me say this last thing before we pray out, brother. I know a lot of people hit you up for some advice and where to go. Like, God-based recovery is doing those. We still do those recovery meetings on Zoom. Direct people to the group. We'll get them in the Zoom meeting. They can talk about anything they want to talk about. It's a safe, respected place. And anybody that needs a good meeting, just a place to be heard and seen, or just to hear some good stuff, send them our way. Or any place that you think will really help them. But brother, just keep doing what you're doing. More importantly, just keep doing what the good Lord's leading you to, and I know you'll be okay. I ain't gonna say I think, I know.
And for me, it takes a village with me. With all the support that I get from you and a handful of other people, man, y'all really keep me going, and we need to keep it going. So,
Brother,
stay in contact with me.
I guarantee you I will. I guarantee you, brother. I love you very much, man. I hope to be able to meet you someday, other than the screen, but you've played a big part of my own recovery, and it's good to see you this side of the dirt, and looking somewhat happy and freer and lighter and confident, peaceful. I mean, you got a lot of stuff that's going to be happening. I know you just got out and stuff, but bro, this is day 2 of your new life too. And I can't thank you enough for being my friend and always being truthful and I'm going to be here for you no matter what.
It means a lot, Trav.
Just the truth, brother.
It means a lot.
You want to give a shot praying out, or you want me to do it?
Go ahead.
All right. Father God, thank you for this time. Thank you for this day. Thank you for this life. Thank you for my brother, Michael Delk. You know everything he's been through, Lord. More importantly, you know exactly where he's going to be going to. Just keep leading him, protecting him, Lord, providing for him. He's committed to doing the work, boots on the ground, Lord, walking to that goal, that purpose, that plan that you have for him. Protect his mom, look over her, bring her peace and joy. His family, Lord, his friends, and just thank you for everybody that tuned in to watch this. That's a big supporter of Michael's, just as a brother, or just as a human, Lord. And I know everybody respects his honesty and truthfulness, and he means a lot to people, and he'll give it right back to him. He never takes more than he gives, Lord. Actually, he gives more than he takes, I believe. So just keep him on the right path, Lord. And bless everybody that's watched this and tuning in. Protect their families and friends. And thank you for always making a way every day. I say this prayer in your holy son, Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Hey,
God-based
recovery, man. Appreciate it. Love you,
Trav. Anytime, brother. Love you too. This wasn't officially you're on the spot. This was just a live chat.
Okay.
We'll get that someday, because we got way more to talk about. All that stuff I want to hear about. The military career, the 10 years in the joint. I mean, we could stretch that out, man. We could probably do a two-parter, but just enjoy your evening, brother.
Yes,
hit me up anytime. I love you. Michael Delk, everybody.
All right. Love y'all.